So our first stop today will be past the Margaret Lawrence house, located at 312 First Avenue in Neepawa. It was built in 1894 for merchant John Simpson. The two-story brick house in Neepawa was home to internationally acclaimed author Margaret Lawrence from 1935 to 1944. A provincially designated historic site as of 1987, the house is now operated as a museum dedicated to Lawrence's literary career. A commemorative plaque was placed on the grounds in 1988 by the Manitoba Heritage Council.
Can we go down or just point that one?
Yes, so the Margaret Lawrence house is just at the corner on the left here.
Trim the trees.
Yeah. Some of you will have joined us already when we did our tour here.
It's open every summer, right?
Yes, and it's open all summer long if anyone wants to drop by there. There's always someone there. 12 and under is free, and adults are $5. Students are $2. So the next heritage building that we're going to go past is the Arts Forward building, located directly across the street from Giant Tiger. This building was constructed in the mid-1950s by the congregation of the First Baptist Church. It is presently the home of Neepawa's local arts and cultural center.
In piano lesson, I used to like go there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
They
this
can
one
have piano
here.
lessons there.
Piano
And
lesson
class. Yeah, that's arts museum.
And then we're going to carry on down mountain, and we're coming up to the next one, which is the old post office building. This large red brick structure was built in 1908/1909 by the federal government. So that's this one up here on your left. It held the post office and custom offices for more than 60 years. Over the last 50 years, it has been used as retail and office space. So that's this one. It's a very old building. And then the next building on our list is where Bruce Brothers is located up here on the corner. So this two-story brick building at Neepawa was designed by Winnipeg architect Hugh Sandeman Griffith and was constructed in 1903 for the Neepawa Lodge of the Independent Order of Oddfellows. Now the oldest IOOF building in Manitoba and provincially designated historic site, a commemorative plaque was placed on it in 1996 by the Manitoba Heritage Council. And also,
Did you have the bank there too?
yeah, so the CIBC Bank on the corner here was designed by architect Victor Daniel Horsberg and built in 1914. This two-story brick and stone building on Mountain Avenue in Neepawa was formerly occupied by the Canadian Bank of Commerce. And then we have the Brown building, which is where the Bamboo Restaurant is. So just up here on your right. This two-story building on Mountain Avenue in Neepawa was built around 1897 by John Brown and used as a general store. The south side has housed a restaurant since at least 1944. Various types of businesses have occupied the north side. It is collaboratively known as the Bamboo Restaurant building. Yes, so then on Hamilton Street, right here, you'll turn left. The mill building on the corner here, it was built in 1891 as the R.B. Hamilton Hardware Store. It was a hardware retailer for several decades, and for the last 50 years, there have been both men's and ladies' wear stores in the building. So So we have quite a few on this street, so we're actually just gonna maybe park in front of the courthouse and we can get out and sort of walk around. This street, I think, has the most heritage buildings in Neepawa. Okay.
So we don't use this one, right? I'm just gonna.
So this one is the beautiful Plains County Courthouse. It was built in 1884 by Gossel and Dykeman on a design by Winnipeg architect C.O. Wigton. This two-story brick structure in Neepawa was generally used for county court, jail, municipal offices, and a theater. A commemorative plaque on the grounds was erected by the Historic Sites Advisory Board of Manitoba and the Historic Sites and Monument Board of Canada in 1980. This is a provincially designated historic site. A monument on the front lawn commemorates local war veterans. So this building, I actually found this really interesting. It is called the Mackenzie Block. This two-story brick building on Hamilton Street in Neepawa was constructed in 1898 for veterinarian George Albert Mackenzie. He used the first floor as a horse hospital and the second floor as a residence for his family. It is presently, as of 2020, used as a physiotherapy and wellness center.
And it still is, right?
I think so.
Still a physio.
Oh yeah, the playlist.
So actually, this building across the street.
Yeah.
Have we just crossed it?
Just faster.
So this section here with the red bricks is called the Empire Block. This two-story brick building on Hamilton Street in Neepawa was constructed around 1905 for the general merchantry of John Kerr and Company. And then we have the Roxy Theatre. It is one of the oldest operating theatrical venues in Manitoba. It was built in 1906 to replace an opera house that was destroyed by fire. It was used originally for live performances, dramas, concerts, lectures, and political rallies. One of its operators being Bertram Brooker from 1912 to 1913, and his brother Cecil Brooker. In 1936, the building was renovated into the Art Deco style by proprietor Leon Asper with architectural expertise from the firm of Green, Blankstein, and Russell. The theater has been operated by community volunteers since 1988 and has been community owned since 1989. In 2006, the building became a municipally designed historic site.
Then, moving further. Going further. Power block. You wanna do the garden?
I love it.
Can you see it for you if it's there? I can see it.
One is the Neepawa Land Titles Building. This one-story red brick and limestone building on Hamilton Street in Neepawa was designed by provincial architect Samuel As of 2014, much of the building remains remarkably intact, including the pressed tin ceilings, millwork, exterior and interior doors and vaults containing the original cabinetry, the storage of legal documents. Recent work has been done to supplement insulation on the basement's exterior walls, and plans exist for the replacement of exterior windows with more energy efficient ones. So I think, like, year-wise, this is one of the ones. And then we'll just walk further down to the Legion.
Not the Margaret one.
Oh yeah, the Margaret Lawrence one's a little bit older.
It's a nice spot for the picture.
Yeah, so the Royal Canadian Legion. The museum is housed in the former Canadian National Railway Station. It was opened in 1981, and is filled with many interesting displays depicting the history of Neepawa and area. The water is actually receiving. Yeah, so this is where we're gonna do our kayaking. Yeah, it's actually very safe. The water's really shallow. So, and we just stay in this area and we follow the curve around the bridge and then come back.
Next year.
Ganda niya pag hindi siya mainit. Ano?
Oo. Okay, next time. Tama kayo next time.
It's inside.
Ako ang dami. Ako ng plato. Alam niyo. Ay, naabot na? Nakuha na rin yung ma'am. Nakuha na rin ba?
So this is the Stony Creek School. It was established in December of 1881 and closed in 1950, being formally consolidated into Neepawa School in January of 1967. The building was moved to Neepawa in 1964, where it is displayed here at Lions River Bend Park. And a stone monument remains at its former site in the municipality of North Cypress, Langford. So the school used to be out in the country, but they brought it here so people can kind of enjoy and appreciate it. Yeah, and there is a stone monument at the former site in the RM, but I'm not exactly sure where that is. So this is a trail marker for the Fort Ellis Trail. They put the roadside marker here. It denotes a portion of the Prairie Trail to the fur trade post of Fort Ellis, formerly known as the Carleton Trail, Saskatchewan Trail, and Edmonton Trail. It was the major route by which Aboriginals, fur traders, explorers, missionaries, surveys, and settlers traveled west from Upper Fort Garry to Fort Edmonton, now Edmonton, Alberta. The marker was erected by the Manitoba Heritage Council. So this was along the route of the fur traders and all of that.
Okay, we found it.
Yeah, so then from here, we're just going to go back to Mountain Avenue and past the Yellowhead Center and then head to the cemetery, please. So I learned something new today because I didn't know this about the Yellowhead Center, but it's kind of cool. So in the early 1930s, a salt mine was established in Neepawa. It remained in operation until 1970. After the plant closed, it was repurposed into a recreation center, which includes a large hall and ice arena. So the Yellowhead is actually an old salt mine. We're gonna drive past that in a few minutes.
I was wondering, they don't have
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Built back in the 80s, I think.
Oh. And they closed it now?
It was run by Bart's family. It's on right down there.
Okay.
You know Mr. Martin, right?
Yeah, so here's the Yellowhead Center. I think everyone here has probably been past it already, but yeah, in the early 1930s, it was a salt mine.
Salt towers used to be, see that white pile of wood is
Okay.
down by the railroad track?
Mm-hmm.
That's where the salt towers were.
Oh, neat.
I was in grade,
Salt tower.
the middle school used to be an old building right up against the highway
Mm-hmm.
over here, or against this road. And you could see the salt towers, and we all came out in one recess, and they imploded them like the
Oh.
demolition, just boom, and then they all came down.
Wow.
And something to see,
Mm-hmm.
big pile of dust.
So were you born and raised in Neepawa?
Nope, I was born in England.
Oh, okay. Wow.
My mother brought me here in 1969.
Okay. Cool.
Married a farmer.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Bentmore, 10 miles from here.
Oh, neat. So you went to school in Neepawa? Yeah.
That's the stone angel.
So that is the Stone Angel. Right here on the right. So that is a memorial built in 1903 of politician John Andrew Davidson. And it was made famous by the novel of the same name written by Neepawa-born author and pacifist Margaret Lawrence. Her gravesite is located in the Wemyss family plot. yeah, that's kind of about it about that. But we can get out and have a look at it later too.
What's the other one?
So there's Margaret Lawrence's grave, which is over in this area over here. And then we also have, I don't have it printed here, but
I'll just back in there out of the way.
sure.
Is this a good spot?
So there is a monument here. I don't actually know exactly where it is. But it's a fieldstone cairn in the cemetery which commemorates the Graham family. James Graham homesteaded the graveyard property and he was the very first person buried here. So we'll see if we can find his statue, but I'm not sure where that one is. And then there's also, is it over there? Okay, cool.
Lovely.
And then we also have the gravesite of Lewis Hickman, who was on the Titanic. So he's the only person from the Titanic crash that is buried in Western Canada. The rest of the people are all on the east coast of Canada.
I think so. So this one, the first one to be buried.
Yeah, so James Graham homesteaded the graveyard property and he was the very first person buried here in the Neepawa Cemetery.
So this is his land. 1877. So it's been here since 1980. So that's the
Yeah, it would make sense age-wise if these were his kids.
Maybe, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, his and his wife's in the middle there.
And then John is the dad.
That's Margaret Lawrence.
Okay, yeah, so Riverside Cemetery in Neepawa is home to the only burial site of a Titanic victim in Western Canada. It was 100 years ago today, no, I don't know when this article is written, that the ship sank after striking an iceberg, and local historian Cecil Pittman says it was such a disaster. When you start looking at the movies and documentaries, it creates a lot of interest to see the Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. So Neepawa and surrounding area is also home to several victims who perished that fateful day. 21-year-old Leonard Hickman immigrated from England to Eden, Manitoba in 1908, and after 3 years of working on the Harold Honeyman farm, decided to return home to bring two of his brothers, Lewis and Stanley, back to Canada to work with him. Because the family actually thought this was his brother, Leonard, that was buried here, but then they later found out that it was actually Lewis. And there is a possibility that, yeah, it says that they were never recovered. They're probably still at sea. Yeah, there's about 200 people that visit Neepawa each year to seek out this greenstone. Yeah, I'm not sure. Anglican Church, and it opened in 1898. The church held regular services until recently, when the remaining congregation joined the local United Church to form the Neepawa United Anglican Shared Ministry, and then the building was sold. The bell tower was added in 1922, and it was moved to a new tower at the United Church, and the east section was added in 1968. The Knox Presbyterian Church opened in 1892. This large brick church is one of Neepawa's oldest landmarks. This church continues to hold regular services and functions just as it has for the last 132 years.